What is the least interesting part of a basketball game? That's easy. It's watching players shoot free throws after a foul. It's hard to find statistics on this, but according to AI, we watch players shoot free throws for about 20 minutes in a typical NBA game. I would have guessed it was more. Why do we put up with this? Is there any fan that would rather watch free throws than real basketball action? If there were fewer fouls called, which would be nice, the time spent watching free throws would go down, obviously. But we can do much better than that if we think outside the box. When a player commits a foul, basketball should borrow from hockey and adopt the idea of a power play. With minimal delay, the victim's team gets the ball out of bounds with a fresh shot clock, and the offending player is off the court until there's a change of possession. In other words, until there's a score or defensive rebound. Simple. The most common result of a power play like that will probably be a 2 or 3 point field goal, since it's easier than usual to get an open shot, layup, or dunk. So a power play is a good punishment for a foul. But power plays are contested, unlike free throws. Power plays will often be over before the initial shot clock winds down, so they will take less time than free throws, which can drag on for 30 seconds or more. More importantly, power plays will transform the dullest part of the game into some of its most exciting action. Let's be honest. Would you rather watch a player shoot free throws or watch a 5-on-4? This rule change would transform the game for the better, but there are really good reasons for power plays besides just eliminating boring free throws. What is the ugliest and most pathetic thing that regularly happens in basketball games? That's easy. Intentional fouls at the end of close games are an absolute disgrace. You know what I mean. In the final seconds or minutes of close games, the losing team is obliged to foul their opponents every time they have the ball. Fouling like that sounds crazy, but it makes perfect sense with today's rules. The foul stops the clock, and if the fouled player chokes and misses the free throws, the losing team can potentially catch up by 2 or 3 points with a quick basket. The foul was as good as a steal. Then this travesty repeats. They foul again and again. The clock takes forever to tick down to zero, so with sufficient choking on the other side, the losing team always has a chance. This pathetic and undignified tactic doesn't work very often, but it does occasionally work. The team that's behind at the end of a game is basically obliged to start fouling. Intentional fouls should be an oxymoron. Something is terribly wrong with the current basketball rules, since committing fouls at the end of a game is often the correct strategic play. For this reason alone, something has to change. And this philosophical problem is not even the worst part. The final stages of hard-fought games become drawn out, anticlimactic, and sometimes just silly. Instead of fighting hard to come back, the losing team abuses the rules by grabbing their opponents every time they have the ball. Instead of playing tough defense until the very end, they drag out the end of the game without playing defense at all, while the winning team usually runs up the score. How pathetic is that? The problem again is free throws. Even the best free throw shooters occasionally miss. So if you're behind at the end of a game, your best bet is to immediately commit a foul whenever your opponents have the ball, preferably by fouling their worst shooter. Playing defense is a mistake because the clock runs down. The smart play is to foul and pray that they choke. Of course, fans want their teams to win any way they can, but today's ugly last-minute comeback tactics, consisting of nothing but intentional foul and prayers, are embarrassing ways to win. No self-respecting sport can have rules that regularly encourage players to commit fouls. Power plays fix this problem in basketball perfectly. With fouling no longer a viable strategy at the end of a game, the losing team will have to play defense. They will have to force turnovers. They will have to steal the ball. All-out defense like that is fun to watch. This is how close games should end. If the desperate team can't steal, the clock winds down and the game's over. If they accidentally foul while trying to steal the ball, the resulting power play will put the nail in the coffin. When a desperate team does manage to come back with some steals in the final minute, it will be on every highlight reel. Replacing free throws with power plays will transform basketball from where it is now, A great game, but with annoying interruptions every couple of minutes and hideous endings half the time, to the most exciting game on the planet. Now, how do we get this to actually happen?